I am so excited about today's question. It focuses around credibility and personal branding. Is credibility personal branding? So, I want to say yes and no. Okay. So first, let's define both. Credibility is the quality in which you're trusted, known, and liked. Credibility is your character and other people's perceptions of your character. And there are 10 values associated with credibility. What's personal branding? Personal branding is how you show up. It's how you show up when people see you. Typically, personal branding is asynchronous. It's how do you show up in your social media? How do you show up in your website? But personal branding can also be, are you wearing, like the hat is a brand for Mitchell Levy. Is this a personal branding? But it's most of the time when I think about personal branding, I'm thinking about how does one show up on a personal level. So from a credibility perspective, is credibility personal branding, and is personal branding credibility? So let's start with the latter. Is having a good personal brand credible? The answer is yes. If you have a good personal brand, are you guaranteed to be credible? No, you're not guaranteed to be credible if you have a good personal brand. You could look really amazing and still not have aspects associated with being a credible human. Let's go the other way. Can you be credible without a personal brand? The answer is yes. You can absolutely be credible. Credibility is the quality which you're trusted, known, and liked. You can have even all 10 values of credibility. Under trust, it's vulnerability, it's external integrity, it's authenticity, it's being coachable. You could have all those without a personal brand. Under being known, it is the cool part, internal integrity. It's servant leadership. It's having the intent and commitment to do the right thing. Once again, you could have all those with a good or bad personal brand. And then under being likable, it is showing respect and spreading cred dust, sharing your stage. And so the interesting part, same thing. You could have all aspects of credibility and not have a good personal brand. Now, I'm going to separate synchronous and asynchronous credibility. The synchronous credibility is how you show up. If you're watching this, you're not watching it live, and I'm not answering questions, it's asynchronous. Basically, I'm sharing information, and you're seeing me share this information. And what I'm talking about is, let's first focus on synchronous communication. How do you show up in a room, or whether or not you're physically in the room or virtually in the room? How do you show up in the room? And do you have the 10 values of credibility? Absolutely. Right? So if you have the 10 values, or even some subset of that makes you credible, if you have values of credibility, you could show up in a room and be credible without having a personal brand. Now, what happens when you're not in the room? If somebody recommends your name, somebody says, hey, listen, you've got to reach so-and-so because they can help solve your problem. They can help solve your issue. They're really powerful at doing that. Well, what they're going to be doing is, if their favorite platform is LinkedIn, they'll look at your LinkedIn. If it's Instagram, they'll look at you there. Whatever their favorite platform for consuming data, they're going to research you there. They may just go to Google and type in your name and see what comes up. They type in your name and see what comes up, and you don't have a good personal brand. What's going to happen is, asynchronously, you're not going to show up credibly, even though you are credible in a synchronous way. I call that Credcrud. Credcrud is those things that hurt your credibility. If you don't show up well asynchronously, if your personal brand is not good, it's harder to come across credibly. You may not get the opportunity to come across credibly. So, if you can update your personal brand to be consistent across all multimedia platforms so that it actually looks credible and you personally are credible, those two things combined, how you show up when people research you, your asynchronous communication, as well as how do you show up when people actually interact with you, if both of those are credible, that's really powerful. That what makes a credible human. That is the types of things that I want for all of us. I want us to be more credible. I want us to show up in such a way where we're just believable, that we're trustworthy, that we say we're going to do stuff and we do what we say. Integrity, right? So I want us to be able to do that. That we're servant leaders. We're of service to those that we serve. So what's the difference between credibility and personal branding? Personal branding is what will help your asynchronous credibility. And it is important to have a good, consistent personal brand that, by the way, is consistent with how you show up in a synchronous way, which is consistent with a way in which you can attract the audience to you. And that's where the concept we have called the CPoP, that customer pointed possibilities, where you can articulate your purpose and how you serve in 10 words or less. And if you could do that, then what happens? Everything resonates from there. It really is your soul. It's that, once again, it goes back to your character and how people perceive your character. It's your soul. It's you living out loud. It's you being you. And if you could also have a personal brand that reinforces that, you're somebody who not only shows up credibly, but is credible. So to summarize, you can be credible without a good personal brand. What that means, however, is you're not showing up well asynchronously. If you don't show up well asynchronously, it's Credcrud that will affect your credibility overall. Having a personal brand does not make you credible because it's your actions, it's who you are and how you show up that actually makes you credible. So act credibly, follow through with what is credible, and have a personal brand that reinforces that. Looking forward to hearing your feedback. Thanks. Take care. Bye now.